You wake up tomorrow morning. Nothing looks different. The sun still rises, birds are still singing, your phone alarm still goes off. But something invisible has changed. Gravity is just 10% stronger. Not double. Not enough to pin you to the floor. Just 10%. At first, you don't notice anything. You get out of bed, walk to the bathroom, brush your teeth. Everything feels slightly off. Your body feels unusually tired. Your backpack feels heavier. Your coffee mug somehow weighs more. You assume you didn't sleep well, but then the news starts coming in. Athletes across the world are breaking records in the wrong direction. Olympic high jumpers suddenly can't clear heights they mastered yesterday. NBA players struggle to dunk. Sprinters are slower. Even world class marathon runners are finishing minutes later than usual. Why? Because they didn't suddenly become weaker. The earth simply became stronger. Here's something people often misunderstand. If gravity increased by 10%, your mass wouldn't change. You wouldn't magically gain fat overnight. Mass is the amount of matter inside you. Gravity changes something else, your weight. Weight is simply the force pulling your body towards Earth. A person who weighed 70 kilograms on the scale yesterday would suddenly feel as if they weighed about 77 kilograms today. That might not sound dramatic, but imagine wearing a backpack filled with 7 extra kilograms every second for the rest of your life. Every staircase becomes a workout. Getting out of a chair takes more effort. Running burns more energy. Even standing still becomes slightly more exhausting because every muscle is constantly fighting a stronger pull. Young, healthy people would adapt eventually, but millions of elderly people wouldn't. Hospitals would fill almost immediately. Not because gravity is killing people, but because it quietly amplifies every weakness the human body already has. People with heart disease, joint problems, weak bones, muscle disorders, all of them suddenly have a harder job to do. Your heart now has to pump blood through a body that's effectively heavier. Your knees absorb greater force every time your foot hits the ground. Your spine carries more load with every step. Hypergravity research already shows that increasing gravitational forces places extra stress on the cardiovascular and musculoskeletal systems. Fighter pilots experience this during high G maneuvers, and scientists study hypergravity using centrifuges to understand how the body responds. Now imagine not 9 Gs for a few seconds, just 1.1 G forever. But humans aren't the only things built around Earth's gravity. Everything around you is. Take elevators. Yesterday they carried 20 people comfortably. Today, they're lifting the equivalent of 22. Not enough to make them fail instantly, but enough to wear motors faster, enough to increase electricity usage, enough to shorten maintenance intervals. Now multiply that by millions of elevators around the world. The same thing happens to escalators, construction cranes, warehouse robots, forklifts. Every machine that lifts something suddenly has a harder job. Gravity has quietly increased the operating cost of civilization. And then, something even stranger happens. The economy starts slowing down, not because banks failed, not because stock markets crashed, but because physics just became more expensive. Every truck now carries effectively more weight. Brakes wear out faster, engines burn more fuel climbing hills, cargo companies either make fewer deliveries or raise prices. Food becomes slightly more expensive, construction becomes slightly more expensive, mining becomes slightly more expensive. Almost every physical industry on Earth becomes slightly less efficient. 10% doesn't sound like much until you realize modern civilization moves billions of tons every single day. A 10% increase in the force acting on all of it adds up very quickly. And we've only been talking about things on the ground because the real problems haven't even left the runway yet. Every airplane has one job: fight gravity. Now imagine gravity suddenly becomes 10% stronger. Every plane is effectively 10% heavier. Not because it gained mass, because Earth is pulling harder. To stay in the air, planes need more lift. More lift means more speed. More speed means more fuel. Airlines suddenly have 3 choices: charge more, carry fewer passengers, or carry less cargo. Some airports with shorter runways might no longer handle fully loaded aircraft safely. Flying just became more expensive, but airplanes still have it easy. Rockets don't. To escape Earth, A rocket has to reach escape velocity, about 11.2 kilometers per second today. Increase gravity, and that number goes up. That might sound like a tiny change, it isn't. Rockets already use most of their fuel just to escape Earth's gravity. A little more gravity means a lot more fuel, and more fuel is heavy, which means you need even more fuel to lift the extra fuel. Launching satellites becomes dramatically more expensive. GPS, weather forecasting, internet satellites, moon missions, Mars missions, every launch gets harder, and gravity isn't finished yet, because it doesn't just hold us down, it also holds our atmosphere. A stronger gravity would compress the atmosphere, changing air pressure, cloud formation, and weather patterns over time. The world wouldn't look different overnight, but the rules that shaped our skies would quietly begin to change.